Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A famous black man is accused of a crime with absolutely no evidence. The white media makes an outrageous over-the-top spectacle of it, clearly more of a racial demonization campaign than any sort of pretended news, but they also make it clear that no matter what the verdict is, the black man is still guilty. Said black man prevails over the phony criminal charges put against him, and since there's no double jeopardy, that's the end of it, right? Of course not, because soon after the false criminal charges are dispensed with, some parasites looking for a payoff come along with a civil suit. First it was O.J. Simpson, then Michael Jackson, now Bill Cosby. It's like a movie script now, and justice staged. They're still trying to prop up and substantiate the lies about Cosby after the fact. The criminal verdict was overturned, and now they're trying to nullify that in the court of public opinion. When the white media was first ginning up the phony controversy about Cosby and these clearly fraudulent accusations, there were a lot of these floozies who got caked off by Bill Cosby's insurer. But there were some of them who didn't, and as we see, they are determined not to walk away empty-handed. Some nobody named Judy Huth filed a lawsuit saying that Cosby had done something to her in 1975 at the Playboy Mansion. Most of you weren't even born when this allegation is alleged to have taken place. And just to show that these accusers are all operating out of the exact same playbook, just like Andrea Constand and the other Cosby accusers, this Huth woman's story also has changed wildly over the years. First, she claimed Cosby groped her in 1974, then she changed it to 1975. And, just like Andrea Constand, this Huth woman doesn't claim that Bill Cosby raped her, though the white media frames their headlines to deliberately mislead readers into thinking that's what the accusation is. This is just another Cosby molested me story. Huth claims that she suffered emotional distress. She still feels the pain that Bill Cosby caused her, she claims. This wrinkled-up loser is in her 60s now. The only thing she can feel is arthritis. So a jury in L.A. awarded her $500,000. And the same white media that was assailing how stupid L.A. juries are after the O.J. verdict, all of a sudden they feel as if the juries in L.A. have suddenly become geniuses. This woman has been trying to shake Cosby down for some cash since at least 2014. 8 years she's been trying to get something out of him. And in the end, all she gets is $500,000. And no punitive damages, by the way. The jury looked and said, well, maybe you should get some hush money just to go the hell away because you're annoying all of us. But we're not giving any punitive damages. Punitive damages are what it means to actually punish the person who's been found liable. And it says a lot that they looked and said, no, $500,000 and no punitive damages. All these years, all that time, and all she gets is $500,000. And after the shyster lawyer that she hired to represent her gets his cut, along with other assorted fees, well, she might have just enough left over to finally pay for some of those Botox injections and varicose vein treatments that she's been wanting. Probably not. Cosby didn't even bother to show up for this farce, and his legal team says they're going to appeal. But of course, this isn't about law and certainly not about justice. This is a mass distraction campaign aided and abetted by the white media and certain legal figures in the white media's orbit. The old talking points were wearing down and wearing out. The biggest lie about Cosby is that he was some sort of powerful man in entertainment. This is people talking about a black man in the 1970s. What black man in entertainment or any other venue was a shot caller of any sort? What black man in entertainment controlled who eats and who doesn't eat? What black man in entertainment in the 70s was hiring people or firing them? They talk about Cosby as if he was like those white men in media, the ones who actually ran the networks, who actually were in charge of making sure people could get jobs just because they said so. Cosby was no Don Hewitt, the legendary producer of 60 Minutes who could give women jobs at the network. Cosby was no Mo Lester Moonves either, the now disgraced head of CBS who ran a network and arbitrarily decided which women would get cast in TV shows and which ones didn't, depending on whether they were willing to get on his casting couch, allegedly. These white men, they were shot callers. They had the power to attach material career benefits to anyone who was willing to do what they wanted. They could also blacklist women who chose not to, and did. See, that's what happens when you actually have power. That's what powerful men do. What Andrea Constant was doing was the same thing a lot of these groupies and harlots were doing. They were looking to get some bragging rights by saying that they got to spend some time with some comedian or entertainer, and that's all they got, bragging rights, and maybe a chance to hang out at his house, but that's it. Constant herself admitted that even after the alleged incident, she wanted Bill Cosby to give her parents tickets to one of his shows. Yeah, because she was so distressed by his behavior. She was so violated that she wanted her parents to come and see him in concert. I've already documented how a number of Cosby accusers made accusations that were clearly not true. This is just parasites looking for a payoff, leeches and losers desperately hoping to hit the lawsuit lottery. All these people making these accusations against Cosby are thoughts, skanks, and failures. Then you have the bootlicks in Hollywood whose careers flamed out a long time ago, but they're still desperately hoping that if they attack Cosby, that it's going to ingratiate them and the white media executives who, unlike Cosby, actually do have power, and who, unlike Cosby, have always decided who gets to work based on whether they want to do anything for you or not, and who, unlike Cosby, run the very white media apparatuses that are putting out these hit pieces. Bill Cosby was not and never was a Harvey Weinstein or a Molester Moonves. Cosby didn't have the power to make anyone a starlet, and everyone knew it. It's not as if Cosby was making TV show after TV show after TV show, and he certainly wasn't making some string of hit movies, and even if he was, the stuff that Cosby was doing starred black people. So how is it that we got white women like this Huff woman and Andrea Constant and these other free-range thoughts saying that Cosby was a powerful man? What the hell was he going to do for you or against you? He didn't have the power or ability or even inclination to do anything for them other than give them an autograph and some tickets to his next show, which, as Andrea Constant said, she was certainly interested in. It's white power in a nutshell. White men with power need to get attention off of their own misdeeds, so they use a media that they control to attack a black man without media power. And they also decide to drag him into a courtroom that they control top to bottom. And through a media they control, they can get some Negroes who know that these white media owners decide who works and who doesn't work, and these unscrupulous individuals try to ingratiate themselves with the white powers that be by saying, Cosby, he must have done something. They do the very thing that they falsely accuse Cosby of. It's the same old big pile of crap. And wherever there's crap, there's also flies, so predictably, after months of obscurity, the white media decides Kamau Bell is still alive, so let's go talk to that idiot. The LA Times decides today is the day to mention the disgraced failed comedian Kamau Bell, who failed at comedy and failed to reinvent himself as a social commentator. After his Cosby hit piece crashed and burned, the white media has been frantically trying to avoid talking about the fact that everybody saw right through the trash he was peddling, or rather the trash they were paying him to peddle. And instead, they're now just talking about his hit piece as if it was some sort of thought piece, for people who don't think that is. The LA Times waste of space is just the same old regurgitation of Bell's talking points. Of course, neither Bell nor the LA Times actually provides one iota of evidence. Nobody ever has. It's just yet another stale, tired, worn-out recitation of the same stale, tired, worn-out, unsubstantiated accusations. The LA Times. All the lies that's fit to print. And you know Kamau Bell is only too glad that the white media is actually paying him some attention, because this week his attention whoring has been in overdrive. He's been trying to get somebody to notice him. He's basically doing anything short of setting himself on fire to get attention. He's like a black male version of Sarah Silverman, only more obnoxious if such a thing was possible. In fact, I would bet that Silverman would actually be less hostile towards Cosby because at the very least, she was, for 5 minutes, a D-list celebrity. Bell, on the other hand, has never been a celebrity at all. He just desperately wishes he could be. Well, just to show that every time Kamau Bell opens his mouth, something stupid falls out, for this year's Father's Day, he decided to make a so-called PSA claiming it was supposed to be humorous. But he didn't do it to thank his own father or to salute dads in general, but instead, Kamau Bell wanted to lecture and wag his finger at men in general and black men in specific because he feels that fathers aren't supporting abortion. Apparently nobody ever told this half-wit how the birds and the bees works. The entire reason that a man is a father is precisely because he doesn't support abortion. So on a day that's supposed to honor fathers, who are criminally underappreciated in this society, Kamau Bell doesn't spare a word of praise or thanks for fathers. To him, Father's Day isn't and shouldn't be about dads, it should be about abortion instead. We can be disgusted, but we can't be surprised. After all, this is Kamau Dumbbell we're talking about. Nobody expects him to say anything intelligent. And because these bootlicking Negroes are always shilling for massa, inevitably Bell compares measures to restrict abortion to racism. So in addition to being totally ignorant of how the birds and the bees work, Dumbbell was also never told about how there were untold numbers of black women who were forcibly sterilized in an effort to limit black people's numbers. He apparently was also never told that Planned Parenthood was created by Margaret Sanger, a notorious anti-black racist. And here this clown is trying to manufacture a false connection between our fight against racism and keeping abortion clinics open. Whether you support abortion or not is irrelevant. The point is, abortion is not analogous in any way to racism, but Bell understands that he has to do this asinine performative extremism in order to appeal to the white leftist set that he kisses the butts of and wants to notice him. Personally, I wish that Kamau Bell's own father had encouraged his mother to get an abortion. But this is the white media and its allies trying to give themselves a consolation prize. They got to keep up the steady drumbeat because, after all, Kevin Spacey and some other white actors are in the news again for sexual impropriety, allegedly. And that being the case, well, we got to have some black guy that we can point to. Well, if nothing else, I suppose there is one good thing that may come out of this Huth character getting herself some free cash from Cosby. After having utterly failed to get a career in Hollywood or to get any sort of personal success for herself, at least now she might finally get a life. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Montez Braxton, Cordelius Dudas, Harry Beard, Rahman Muhammad, and Fahim Carter. Salute to them, and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.